Hey family, it's your girl, Boss B, and welcome to the Ask a Bee Show, the place where your letters come to life. Every day people write in with real questions about life, love, and everything in between. And together we find hope, healing, and a whole lot of honesty. Because here on Ask a Bee, we don't just talk about problems, we talk about possibilities. So grab your tea, open your heart, and let's buzz into today's letters right here on the Ask a Bee Show.
Here we are again, guys. Pardon me, I got my Beyonce going today. It's warm still in Texas. I wish I could wear a hoodie. Oh, it's been one of those days, y'all. And there are days when you wake up and everything feels just off before you even take your first step. It's like the air is heavier, the timing is wrong, the rhythm of the day just stutters before you ever find your footing. And you try shaking it off, you try to push through it, but every small thing becomes a bigger thing. The coffee spills, the notifications freeze, the platform won't load. The routine you rely on suddenly feels foreign. And even though none of these things are life ending, they chip away at your patience in a way that, it feels really unfair. I'm a living testament to that. Okay. There's a real psychological principle, I guess, around this micro stress and its accumulation, meaning tiny frustrations layered on top of each other. They kind of hit the nervous system, and the way it's the same way one major stressor does. Okay. So, yes, it feels heavier because your brain is just literally processing it as heavier. And the worst part, on days like that, it's not just the tasks that stall. It's your faith in yourself. You start asking questions you wouldn't ask on any other day. Is this a sign? Am I losing momentum? Did I do something wrong? Why is everything harder than it should be today? Creators they get hit with this constantly. Okay. There are YouTubers who watch their analytics dip for 6 hours and start questioning their entire identity. I've been there. There's even a name for this cycle in creator psychology: platform fatigue. It's when the machine needs time to reanalyze your content, and instead of clearly telling you that, it just kind of starves you of feedback. And when the world goes quiet like that, whether you post video, uh run a household, care for kids, manage a job, or all of the above, it feels personal even when it isn't. But here's the truth: they don't reach or teach you, pardon me, they don't teach you in resilience. I'm trying to say reach and resilience. Here, let me show you a little something cool I got right here. I needed to drink from my really cool cup. Okay. Resilience is not built on the days when everything works. It's built on those days, well, like today for me, for example. It's built on the mornings when nothing goes right and you still show up anyway. People always celebrate the moments of momentum and the wins and the breakthroughs, the high five seasons. But the character, the backbone, and the grit, that comes from the mornings, from where you're frustrated, tired, and overwhelmed, and still willing to take the next step. That's the part of life that most people never get credit for, but it matters the most. What's wild is that the body reacts to the stall days the same way it does to weather changes. Okay. When the atmosphere shifts quickly, it pressure drops or something, humidity spikes the human nervous system, and it gets knocked off its rhythm. Your focus dips, your patience gets thinner, your energy scatters. So sometimes it's not even you, it's literally the air around you. Teachers and nurses, parents, truck drivers, creators, students, everybody has days where the environment itself throws off their internal balance. Now, the day becomes a mental tug of war that nobody else can see, right? So life adds its own ingredients to the mix, responsibilities that just can't wait, people who need you even when you're drained, kids who don't understand personal space, a spouse who's trying but doesn't always know how to help. It's a never ending list of tasks waiting for attention, right? And somehow you're still expecting to show up and function and keep the household and the whole workflow together. It's a miracle sometimes. Really, it is that people even get through their mornings. And yet we do. You're here. You got this far. That's not luck. That's endurance. Okay. And that's why we're doing this show today. Not to pretend everything is fine, because it never is. Something is always there. And not to slap on a fake smile either. And we're not going to force positivity when the energy is clearly not cooperating, but to actually talk about what it feels like to move through a day where nothing seems to work, and why those days don't define you. They don't break you either. Okay. They don't erase your progress. They slow you down for a moment, but they don't erase the direction you're heading. I've had a lot of those here lately. And being stalled is not really the same as being stopped. And if you're listening right now, it means you're showing up on a hard day, and that alone deserves respect. Okay. Now, even on days when the world feels like it's moving through molasses, there's something strangely grounding about shifting the energy for just a moment and letting your brain play for a bit. And that's why we always start with our trivia, because whether your morning went smooth or, sideways from the second you opened your eyes, taking 60 seconds to let your mind grab onto something that's interesting, and it reminds you that the day is still yours. Trivia wakes up a different part of the brain, the curious part, the creative part, the part that still wants to be surprised. So, today's trivia is taking us inside the studio with Journey. I know we all love Journey, right? Come on, y'all. A band whose sound was so clean and iconic that engineers still study their vocal recordings today. During the production of one of their biggest albums, the team noticed something strange had happened right in the middle of the session. Steve Perry suddenly came through warmer and richer and noticeably more open, almost as if he had stepped into a different recording booth entirely. Okay, no settings had been changed, no microphones had been swapped, and no filters, no effects, no booth adjustments, nothing. Okay, this was a while back. They didn't have all those great things. Yet the entire tone shifted on that single take. Engineers spent years talking about this moment after, because you know what? It became one of those small legendary studio stories about how even the tiniest detail can transform a performance. So, we're going to play this a little differently today. Now, first, let me put this up here. If you need to be on one of our panels, if you feel that need, I would love it if you would get in touch with us. I have our emails scrolling across the bottom. I know it's terrible the way I do this, but still, you'll love me anyway. Now, here we go. Here's your question. and we're going to add a little spice to it. Ta-da! Yeah, I had a little fun, and I had a little more fun. Yay! Okay, what subtle physical change did Steve Perry make that ended up completely changing the resonance and the character of the recorded sound? Let me pull that banner down. It just doesn't seem to be nice. There we go. Now you can see the real pretty one. I've been playing. Looks good though, huh? All right, one more time I'll read it. What subtle physical change did Steve Perry make that ended up completely changing the resonance and character of the recorded sound? It's a good one. Y'all think about that, okay? Now then, let's get me back over here. Now, before we dive into anything heavy or emotional, we are shifting the energy one more time, okay? Because the best way to break out of a stalled day is to actually let yourself laugh. And let's be honest, no matter how rough or frustrating our own morning might be, somebody out there is living a level of chaos we can't even compete with. And those are the stories that save us from taking life too seriously. That's why the funny letter segment always matters. And drinking from my cool cup too. See, you see that? That is a very cool cup here, over here. Now you can see it. Yep. Get your merch. Get your merch. We got merch, people. We got merch. I'm telling you. And y'all make sure you go get some. Please. Here. I'm going to give y'all. I'm trying to do this as well as I did it before. And I'm not. But I'm trying. So we're going to try that some more. Here you go. Get your merch here. Please do. I love my cup, by the way. This is a very durable cup because I'm very clumsy. So I'm just, putting that out there. It's a great cup. Okay. Here we go. Uh-oh. I got comments. There we go. They're me. Okay. Now. Okay, so the funny letter, it snaps the tension and it really resets the mood. And it reminds us that real people, real families, and real situations are absolutely wild sometimes, right? And when you're having one of those nothing works moments, hearing somebody else's circus can be exactly the relief that you didn't know you needed. And the best part, today's mantra, say it with me, y'all. Not my monkeys, not my circus. Okay? Say it again. Not my monkey, not my circus. Okay. So let's take this moment, breathe out the heaviness of our daily lives a bit before we hear someone else's, and get ready for a story that proves you are definitely not the only one wrestling with chaos today. Here we go. Dear B, forgive me, I'm going to try this. I need to confess someone or something before the universe punishes me again. I think my household has staged a coup, and I am no longer in charge of anything, not my morning, not my peace, not even my identity as a functioning adult. It all started at 6:12 a.m. when my dog woke me up by sitting on my chest like a judgmental tax collector. Not barking, not whining, just staring at me with the expression of someone who discovered I overdrafted the family account. I pushed him off, stood up, and immediately stepped in something wet. Was it water? Was it slobber? Was it karma? Who knows? I don't ask questions anymore. I just let the Lord guide me. That's the way to do it, honey. I finally get to my kitchen thinking maybe, just maybe, I could salvage the morning with coffee. B, I didn't even make it to the coffee pot before my teenager comes in wearing what I can only describe as a psychological attack disguised as fashion. A hoodie with one sleeve, pajama pants that say world's okayest human, and socks that absolutely did not match. I asked where he was going. He said, school. I said, like that? He said, it's Monday. They'll forgive me. Then he walked out with the confidence of a senator under investigation. I have never been more scared. So I finally get my coffee, take one sip, and immediately spill it down the front of my shirt. Not a cute spill either, the kind that spreads the wildfire and somehow makes you look sweaty and incompetent at the same time. Oh my, what a day. All right, before I can even recover from that humiliation, my 7-year-old burst in wearing a superhero cape and my missing bra on his head like a medieval helmet. And he yells out, "Mom, behold, I am the Titan of Justice." I said, "Take my bra off your skull." He said, "No, it gives me power." I swear I saw the dog nod in agreement. Yeah, that happens. At this point, I'm thinking I need to sage the house or call a priest. Now, there's a thought. But then the final straw happens. My husband, who has the nerve to be calm, walks in and says, "Babe, something's wrong with the dishwasher." I said, "What happened?" He shrugs and says, "It just started smoking." Smoking? Not beeping, not clogging, not leaking, smoking like it had a marble red on break and was tired of this marriage. I opened the door and I kid you not, a puff of steam shot out like a dragon exhaling disappointment. Okay. So here I am writing you from the safety of my car in the driveway because that is the only place left where the appliances don't judge me. The children don't cosplay with my undergarments, and nothing has tried to emotionally or physically assault me yet. Please tell me life is not supposed to be this unhinged and that the universe isn't exactly trying to take me out like a Netflix character in the first episode. Oh, it sounds a little bit more like the Star Trek situation, you know? Uh, wow. You have a name, though, right? Oh, okay. So, listen, sweetheart, the universe is not trying to take you out, okay? It's trying to break you in. Speaking of universe, pardon me, need a drink. Great cup. I'm serious, y'all. Now, you're not living a normal life, okay? You're living inside a sitcom that God keeps renewing for extra seasons because, the ratings are just too damn good. I mean, honestly, the moment your dog sat on your chest like a judgmental landlord demanding rent, I mean, that was the pilot episode right there. Yeah. Look, if he ever learns how to fold his little paws and sigh dramatically, yeah, I'd call the Vatican because that is a possessed beagle with unresolved trauma. Now, the teenager. Oh, no. No. He's not just embracing Monday, okay? He's weaponizing it. The world's okayest human. That tells me everything I need to know. That child rolled out of bed, looked at the state of the world, and said, "You know what? My mother already stepped in something mysterious today. Let me add a little spice." Yeah. And the confidence he left your house with. Oh my gosh, that's not confidence, really. That is delusion powered by adolescence. Okay. Scientists cannot measure that type of energy. They can't. The 7-year-old, okay, that's one you need to watch. Any kid who puts a superhero cape and your bra like a Viking helmet is either going to be president or spend 3 decades explaining this moment in therapy. And the way he declared himself the Titan of Justice. Okay, that tells me he's fully abandoned reality and is now operating on pure imagination and sugar fumes. Honestly, if wearing your bra gives him strength, maybe you should try it. Clearly, it's doing something magical. Okay. I'm not going to forget the dishwasher because I almost screamed. Okay. A smoking dishwasher is not an appliance problem. That is a cry for help. Okay. That machine, it didn't malfunction. That machine quit, honey. That it quit. All right. The machine said, I've washed too many plates for this family and I refuse to do anymore. When your dishwasher starts sending smoke signals, people, this is the appliance equivalent of filing for a divorce. Okay. You need to let that thing go. Let it go. Hold a memorial service if you have to. Thank it for its service. It died a hero, but let it go. Oh my gosh. So, hiding in the car from your own household like a raccoon avoiding animal control. Hear me clearly, please. You're not losing your mind. You are not cursed. Your family isn't possessed. Okay. You, my friend, are simply living inside a live action comedy written by the same people who wrote, like Home Alone and The Office, whatever dream produces children wearing bras as battle gear. Okay. Take a breath. Take a breath. Drink the emergency coffee. It's in there. You know it is. You put it in there. And now, know this. If you made it through this morning without calling a lawyer or a pastor or even a paranormal investigator, you're doing better than 99% of the population right now. Amen. My goodness. All right, y'all. That one was good. That one was, yesterday's, I couldn't even get through it. I was laughing, and that's terrible because I look like an idiot, but you know what? Oh, I held it together today. I do believe. All right, y'all. Now, those emails have been down there for a while, but now I want you to check out something even better. Right there. Right there. Y'all go get you some merch. I got mine. I'm getting good at this. I really am. Okay. Okay. We are going to get into this one now. And it's going to be okay. Let me just put it there. Okay. Because now that we've laughed hard enough to reset the entire nervous system and, shift gears a little bit now. Again, I know I do that a lot, but it's the ADHD. Come walk with me. We're running. All right. But as crazy and as unhinged as life can get on the funny days, right? There are other days where chaos isn't funny at all. It's heavy, it's quiet, and it sits on your chest in a completely different way. That's part of life most people don't talk about openly. The part that makes you feel stuck or drained or unsure. And even when you're doing everything you can to move forward. And on a morning like today, for me, because it has been a morning already, when nothing, pardon me, it's dry here in Texas. It's another chance to get to show this really cool mug too. Don't forget, we got all our shirts there too. Get you one. They're beautiful. Now, okay. The letters that hit a little deeper, the ones that people write when they're trying to hold themselves together, the ones that aren't asking for jokes, they're asking for clarity and for, direction. Let's take a moment, slow it down, and open the door to the real conversation underneath all the frustration and noise. Because someone out there is trying their best right now and still feels like they're going nowhere, and that deserves space too. Okay. I know a lot of us have felt this at one point or another. And let me tell you, I do too. I almost every day, especially with this YouTube thing, because I just want to do it all right, and because I have so many people that I have that depend on me, okay? And they depend on me because that's what I bring. I know my level of responsibility, and I'm always wanting to, bump it up. So every now and then I'm like, well, I don't think that worked as well as I wanted it to. And that's okay. Y'all, that's okay. It's okay to not be right all the time too, okay? So let's read this one. Whew, okay, dear B, I don't really know how to explain the place I'm in right now, but I'm going to try because it feels like if I don't let these words out somewhere, they're just going to sit in my chest and get heavier. Lately, I feel like I'm stuck between who I used to be and who I'm trying to become, and I don't belong fully in either space. I'm showing up, I'm working, I'm trying, I'm doing the right things, but everything around me feels frozen. It's like my life is buffering in slow motion while everyone else is streaming in high definition. I want to move forward. I want progress. I want change. But instead of, I feel paused, not by choice, not by fear, just paused. And the strangest part is nothing is really wrong, but nothing is really right either. I'm not breaking down, but I'm not thriving. I'm not giving up, but I'm not winning. I'm just here trying to move, but not getting anywhere. Every time, I'm sorry, one more time. Every time I think I am finally gaining momentum, something knocks it out of my hand. A setback, a delay, a distraction, or just my own exhaustion catching up to me. And when I look around, it feels like everyone else has direction. Everyone else has clarity. Meanwhile, I'm standing still in this fog, trying to figure out which way is forward. I'm not asking for motivation quotes or quick fixes. I'm asking because I don't know what to do with this feeling of being stuck in neutral. I don't want to lose hope, but some days it feels like the world is pushing me into a corner I don't know how to climb out of. So, my question is this: what do you do when you're trying your hardest and nothing seems to work? How do you keep going when the pace of your life is so slow you can't tell if you're moving at all? And how do you trust that something better is coming when all you can see in front of you is the stillness? Signed, Way Too Stationary. I feel that. Oh my goodness. Okay, first, let me tell you something. You might not have heard this in a long time. Feeling stuck, it doesn't mean you're failing. It means you're human. We all imagine growth like a straight line, constant progress, constant clarity, constant motion, perpetual motion. But real life doesn't work like that. Real life moves in cycles, okay? And the stalled part of the cycle is it's as real, as valid, and as important as the growing part. In fact, psychologists say the brain goes through something called a consolidation phase, where everything slows down on purpose so the mind can recognize, recover, and then reroute. We don't give our brains much credit, do we? It's pretty smart, even when we don't think we are. It feels like nothing is happening, okay? But behind the scenes, everything is shifting. You're not stuck, you're regrouping. Now, what you're describing is something someone almost never admits out loud to, okay? That in between space where you're not who you were anymore, but you're not who you're becoming yet either. That space is uncomfortable. It really is, because it's unfamiliar, okay? You don't have the old identity to lean on, but you don't have the new one fully built yet, okay? It's like moving into a new home. there's a moment where everything's in boxes, right? Nothing's where it belongs, and you can't tell what the finished room will look like. And in that moment, people start to panic a little bit because it feels like it's just a mess. It's not a failure, though. Okay? It's transition. And transitions never feel stable while you're in them. So you also mentioned watching other people move ahead while you feel pause. Let me shine a little light for that. Okay? Just for 1 second, because people don't post their pause seasons. I've said this before. They don't share their empty days, their foggy days, or their stalled days. They post the breakthroughs, the wins, the shiny parts. You're comparing your real life to someone else's highlight reel. And that's never going to be fair. Okay, it's not a fair fight. The truth is, every person you see moving forward has had seasons where they felt exactly like you do. They just didn't live stream that part. Okay, you're not behind. You're not late. You're just in a chapter nobody else sees until after it makes sense. Everything happens for a reason. Okay, you're exactly where you're supposed to be right now. Okay. And if you want that change, you're the one that has to do that. So, what do you do when nothing seems to work? You stop trying to sprint through the mud. Okay. You switch from speed to steadiness. You do the small things with consistency, even when they feel insignificant, because small things done during slow seasons become the foundation of what you build in the fast ones. Now, if the progress feels microscopic, good. Keep doing it. Microscopic progress is still forward motion. And forward motion during a stall, it takes more strength than anything you do when life feels easy. This is where resilience is born, okay? Not in the breakthroughs, but in the days you kept going without applause. You also asked how to trust that something better is coming when you see all the stillness. Here's the truth, okay? Stillness doesn't mean absence. Stillness means preparation. Think about it like a slingshot, okay? It pulls back before it launches, right? Think about a wave. It retracts before it rises. Think about a breath. You exhale before you fill your lungs again. Everything in nature has a pause built into its pattern. That pause is not punishment, okay? It's alignment. That's all it is. You're being pulled into position for something you're not ready to see yet. And the lack of motion is the thing that keeps you from burning out before you get there, okay? And finally, with this, okay, just remember, if you are truly stuck, you wouldn't feel the frustration you're feeling now. And frustration is a sign you're still fighting, okay? People who are truly done don't write letters like this, okay? They don't ask how to move forward. They don't care about the direction in any way. The fact that you're reaching out, questioning, craving growth, wanting something kind of clarity, okay? That's not a step person, not at all. That's a person who is still in the story, still trying, okay? Still reaching. And you will get out of this chapter not because of luck, okay? Listen, not because of luck, but because you have already proven you don't quit on yourself. And thank you for that. Even on the days when nothing seems to work, you wrote this letter in. Thank you for showing up for you. That is amazing. And I'm so proud of you for doing that. And I would love to hear back from you on this one because that is amazing. Hi, Big Jack. Good to see you. Oh, my goodness. We got through that letter pretty quick, though. honestly, that's okay because, you know, today let me tell you a little bit about me first. After I take a drink out of my really cool mug. hmm See how pretty it is? It is beautiful. I'm going to keep putting it in your face. It's awesome. Seriously. Guys, there have been days, you wake up first thing in the morning, you're thinking, oh my gosh, okay, this is going to be a good day. I'm going to make this a good day. You're just pumped up. You're about to just do something spectacular. And I don't know what happens. You stub your toe. You step on the dog's tail and he yelps and wakes the whole house up. Something happens. And it puts you in a whole different headspace for the day. That's hard for me because I have so many places that I have to be and so many things that I have to do, so many headspaces that I have to avoid because everyday life is chaotic. I have a great deal of things that I do other than YouTube. I work, I homeschool my granddaughter, which, she's here today. She's spending time with her peepaw now. This is her peepaw time so that I can have my little bit of time in here. And we find that balance and everything, but then something tips the balance when it's, just barely hanging on as it is. And that is so hard. It really is. It's so hard to get through your day knowing, hey, this started, this is how this happened. So then this happened. And then it's a chain reaction, right? One bad thing, Murphy's Law, one bad thing happens, and then it's a domino effect. And honestly, last week I had a couple of those, and it really sucks when you have one of those days in a week, but when you have a couple in a row, but then you get through it and you go back and you see what you did after the fact and you realize, hey, I actually did kind of get through that day. And that's, I think, my most important message, because even if it seems like it's that hard, the fact that you got through it, each and every step of it, is still a win. And I think that's the big thing. We don't look at the small wins near enough anymore. And hopefully answering your letter and this episode will help you do that, because I think that's so, so important that you got to look at the little wins. Hi, Kyle. Good to see you. But seriously, you have to find those little wins. The little wins are important too, right? They're absolutely important. And I'm sorry, distraction, the trash trucks. It's Tuesday. Pardon me. Um, the little wins, they're so important. Like today, I got up and things didn't go the way I wanted them to. First thing, the stub the toe part. I am notorious for stubbing my toes. And yes, I've probably broken all of them at least once. I don't know why. It's just a clumsiness that I have. And I do that. I get up and I'll, knowing full well that that thing was sitting there. It's been sitting there the entire time, and kick it. Then I'll, go down, go make some coffee, something like spill the coffee or spill it on my foot was what I actually did this morning. I kicked something and then I spilled coffee on that toe. So it's like, are you kidding me? This is a testament to my day. I'm done. I'm ready to go back to bed. Let's just pull the covers over our head, find a big rock to crawl under. But no, there's too many things I have to do. And so when my toe stopped hurting, there was my moment. And as silly as it seems, it was still a win because it stopped hurting and I got through my day, right? It's the small things. You got to stop looking for the big wins because not all of them are as big as they seem. You get up in the morning and you have a rough day, but you got through it. Like right now, okay? I had that rough morning. A few more things happened I don't want to bore you with, but I managed to do a couple of pretty cool things for the show today, and I managed to get all that together, and I started out good. I'm going to end it off good, and I'm getting through this episode, and hey, there's a win and a win and a win and a win. So sometimes the way the morning starts kind of sets the mood for the day. You've got to learn how to change your mood in that situation. Because believe me, had I not, I probably would have had a totally different show today. Pardon me. Cup, look, Kyle, look, these are really cool cups. You can go get one. See, check that out. Ain't that pretty? Iron sharpening, iron universe, baby. We're a part of it. And I love it. All right. So, here we are back to this. Pardon me. But I was able to mess with some graphics, as you can see. I do have a neat new background here. Let me go this way. There. See the honey. I've just been playing, trying to impress my boss man, things like that. Let me see if I can do this without I'm probably gonna mess this up, knowing me. I'm gonna come up here with this. Let's see here. What did I do? That one. Check it out, boss man. What do you think? I thought that was really cool. I found that beat, and then AI decided to find me, and it made it ease for me. I like it. Anyway, okay. It was something to play with. And it has the honeycomb. And Walt liked the honeycomb yesterday, and I like the honeycomb every day. So, yeah, this is what a better day happens. This is how I act in a better day. A little bit hyper. Forgive me. It's all the Dr. Pepper I'm drinking out of this really cool cup that I keep forgetting to turn the correct way. There we go. See? Mm-hmm. Boss man back there. Oh, would you stop it already, lady? Right? Anyway, so yeah, getting back to that, I suppose I should. I did start out really bad this morning, but you know what? I'm feeling pretty good right now. I really am. Because it gave me a moment to sit down, to let my foot stop hurting, number one, and to go through and look and see what my team is doing and what I should be doing and how I can help them some more and they can help me and how we can work as a team and this stuff. And then I got this production ready for my trivia section in here, and I'm just so excited about that too. And I'm just, you know what? I'm having so much fun with this. Walt said yesterday that how can you do that 6 days a week? You know what? He's right. It does take a lot of commitment, but watching my teammates and the commitment that they have to all of theirs. Listen, I'm going to be completely and totally honest here, okay? I have changed around so much in my channel right now that that's what's causing me problems getting monetized again. I have found my problem, which I'm going to tell y'all before I get any further into this. Make sure when you are going through and posting a new video, read again where it says altered content, yes or no. Personally, not touching it is probably the better situation, but if you've already touched it, click no. There is a bulk edit you can fix that with, and I've come to find that that is part of the biggest part of my problem with the monetization. I have not done my appeal yet, but now I have gone through and taken and privatized all the videos that I think have caused this problem. I've fixed that setting in all the other ones, and I'm about to start my appeal. And guys, I think that I have a good chance this time. And if I don't, you know what? February 5th, I will try again, and I should be better by then. But here's the thing, okay? Here's the thing. All this time, I've been doing faceless stuff. Faceless is good if you're telling a story, okay? But music is a hard one when it comes to YouTube. Now, I have done nothing wrong with my music other than tried to what triggered it was me using a video of my own for a second time way too soon. You can reuse, but you've got to let it get like a month ahead of time. You've got to have a month between it, okay? And that was my mistake. That's what triggered it. But then it saw the other problems that I had. Now, let me remind you, when they took me off of monetization, I understood what it was, okay? I understood what it was when they denied me a second time too, after finding out a little bit more about that setting. It is that setting more than anything else. Any of the music videos that I've ever made that had no words in them or no AI voice or no real good change, those were problems. They were okay, but just on the borderline. That's why I have privatized them. I have not deleted them. Don't delete anything, okay? This is so important. If you delete them, you lose those views. You lose the likes and all the things that the algorithm loved about that. You don't want to lose that, but you don't want to keep sharing it out because it could trigger that for you. So make sure you put in words. Make sure you change anything you use. You can use GIFs. GIFs are good, okay? You know, those little bitty mobile pictures you see that you can send through your text messages, you can use those. Okay, those are edited enough. And if you edited them a little bit more, you're safe. But if you don't put words in, if you don't make it look like more educational, then it could cause you problems. So, any of the videos that ever had music that I made myself through Suno, those are all safe. Never a problem with any of those. Any of the shorts that I made that were like docu shorts or had words in them, those are safe. Okay. Everything there is safe. The ones that were not safe were my laziness. And I know what they were, and they've been taken off. You can see that I've gone from like, I don't know, 1,800 down to about 1,300. I've gotten rid of about 500 shorts. But guys, it's okay because now I get to take those 500 shorts that I took down and restructure them and do them right. So I have this library of goods, okay? Not a loss. It's still not a loss. But here I am, not monetized. And that's okay too. I don't need it because I'm doing what I should have done in the first place and learning how to make it my own. I was lazy. I'm not anymore. BBTV, we are real. We are a part of something. And in order to be a part of something, I have to look good. And so that's what I've done. So everything is good here. Okay. Even though it seems like it's not, these are all real wins because now I've learned how to do everything I wanted to do in a video and then some. Look at this back. Look at this right here. I made all that with AI, of course, but I'm the one that had to tell it what to do. And then it comes up with this, and hey, wow. Okay. This is a win for me, not AI, for me, because I told it what I wanted and it gave it to me, right? Lots of little wins. I feel like I win every time I take a drink out of this cup, too. Wear this shirt. Sit on the stage with my besties because that's what my team is. Yeah. All right. I'm going to start rambling because here I went, but that's okay because somebody wants to hear it. And okay, so all right, let's get back to this. We have set with the question and let our brains chew on it for a minute. Let's circle back around and ease our way into the answer. Here's the question again, right there. Okay. Okay, we're going to work or ease our way back into it, because this is one of those music facts that seem kind of tiny on the surface, but then they end up saying a lot about how sound, performance, and even human nature work. Okay, what I love about trivia like this is about how it proves that sometimes the biggest shifts don't come from big changes. They come from something so subtle you'd miss it if you blinked. And that fits today's whole theme perfectly, right? We always expect breakthroughs to come from big decisions, big moments, big actions, but half the time it's the smallest adjustment, the tiniest shift in, how you approach something. So that it really transforms everything. And that was true in the studio today, I think, and it's true in our lives too. And what what's wild is that the engineers genuinely thought something was wrong with the equipment. They were checking the booth, checking the microphones, the levels, even checking the tape machine, because the sound coming through the speakers was so different from the tape before it. That's how dramatic the change was. Okay, even though nothing had technically changed, it's a great reminder that sometimes we're convinced something external must have failed, when really the shift came from something within the performers themselves. So let's get into what actually happened in that studio and why such a tiny detail could completely transform the sound of an entire vocal take. Now, the full answer, the real reason that vocal take sounded completely different, comes down to one tiny, almost accidental adjustment. The singer, Steve Perry, he lifted his head and opened his throat without even realizing he did it. Okay? That's it. No microphone, no fancy setting, no secret engineering trick, just a natural shift in posture. That changed everything. When he lifted his chin upwards, even slightly, he expanded the space in his voice tract. That wider space allowed the sound waves to travel differently, I guess, which made the note resonate with fuller warmth. And, it was like really brighter clarity. Studio engineers described it as the sound opening up, like someone turned a hidden dial that had been locked the entire session. And that's wild. What's really wild is this is something vocal experts teach in master classes. How posture and tiny physical adjustments can completely change the emotional texture of a voice, right? But here's where the story gets even better. The engineers didn't know what he had done. They stopped everything. They thought a cable had gone out, or a tape machine had malfunctioned, or composer suddenly kicked in, or compressor, pardon me. They were checking equipment left and right, because to them the difference sounded mechanical. And that's how dramatic the change was. No one thought even for a second that the human body itself had created the shift. And that's the part most people never think about. The body is the instrument, the booth, the equipment, the gear. All of it exists to capture what the body produces. And sometimes the smallest change inside the performers, it creates a bigger result, bigger than any technology could, even more fascinating. Okay. Steve Perry didn't realize he'd done anything. He didn't know. He had no idea. It wasn't some brilliant trick he'd planned. The moment wasn't scripted. He didn't say, "Hey guys, watch this vocal hack." No, he was simply feeling the emotion of the song so intensely that his body naturally adjusted to match the expression. That's what makes the story so powerful, I think. The take that became legendary happened because he allowed himself to lean into the moment fully, without overthinking it. Okay. And it isn't that, I think that's how life works. Some of the best results we ever get come from instinct, not strategy, from letting ourselves breathe instead of tightening up, from allowing something small inside us to just shift ahead of trying to control everything around us. Here's a deeper layer. And this ties directly into today's theme about stalled days and slow moments. That vocal shift, it didn't happen because someone tried harder. It didn't happen because someone pushed more. It happened because something softened. A little openness changed the entire sound. And we forget that sometimes in life, the breakthrough isn't the big leap, it's the subtle adjustments. Lifting your head when you feel defeated, relaxing your shoulders instead of bracing for the worst, taking a breath before reacting, letting yourself feel instead of fighting the moment. Okay. Those tiny shifts, they change the whole tone of your entire day just as dramatically as that head tilt changed the tone of the recording. Here's some years later. That one accidental take became their reference point. They kept trying to recreate it, trying to force that magic, trying to capture it again with technique and precision, and they just couldn't. The magic only happened when it wasn't forced, okay? That right there is the whole lesson. Absolutely. You can't force flow. You can't force momentum. You can only create the conditions for it and allow the small moments of alignment to do the rest. That's why slow days feel so painful. We're trying to bulldoze our way through something that actually needs a softer shift, okay? Not a harder push. So yes, the answer is simple. He tilted his head, but the meaning that's so much bigger. A tiny adjustment changed the entire sound, all of it. A small moment changed the whole recording. Just a simple shift, and it created something unforgettable. Everybody loves Journey, right? I mean, you've at least heard it. And that's exactly how life works on the days when nothing seems to go right. The big fix isn't always the fix you need. Sometimes it's the smallest shift that finally lets everything open up. So now that we've pulled the lesson out of the studio moment, let's bring it back home a minute. Because everything we talked about today, every laugh, every letter, every truth hiding inside those stories comes down to the same thing: how we move through the days that don't move for us. And the beauty of wrapping a show like this is knowing that even when the morning felt scattered this morning and stalled or even sideways, we still create something meaningful out of it. That's why this outro matters, okay? It's our chance to breathe together, to collect the pieces of the day. And, just to remind ourselves that slow progress is still progress. It's the moments where we step back from the noise and the chaos, right? From the real frustrations and look at the bigger picture instead of the tiny moments that tried to throw us off. So before we close this out, let's take a moment to bring all of this together and end today with something we can carry into tomorrow, because even on the days when nothing seems to work, we still found our way here. And you know what? That alone is worth the knowledge and acknowledging. And really, days like this remind us that living isn't always about motion, too. Sometimes it's about endurance, sometimes patience, and sometimes it's about giving yourself permission to not have everything figured out, especially in one single morning. When we woke up today, nothing felt smooth, nothing felt simple, nothing felt predictable. And yet here we are together, proving that even a stalled day can become a meaningful day that you choose to show up. That counts for something, okay? More than people ever admit. It counts that you tried. It counts that you stayed. It counts that you kept going, even when your energy didn't match your intentions. And if nobody told you that lately, let me say it plainly. Effort on a hard day means more than success on an easy day. Okay? As you move through the rest of your day, remember that stillness isn't failure. It's part of the rhythm of being human. Every life has its chapters of acceleration and its chapters of quiet, and both are necessary. We learn different things from each other. The fast the fast days teach us confidence. The slow days teach us strength, and the frustrating days, they teach us awareness. Okay? And the stalled days, they teach us resilience in a way no motivational quote or perfect plan ever could. You are building something inside yourself on a day like today, even if you can't see it yet. You don't have to crush it, okay? Not every day. You don't have to impress anyone. You don't have to be a superhero. Sometimes you just have to breathe, reset, and try tomorrow. And maybe that's the real message of this episode. That progress doesn't always look like progress. Sometimes it looks like exhaustion, and sometimes it looks like confusion. Sometimes it looks barely, it's like barely making it through breakfast without crying or cussing or just giving up. But progress is still happening inside you because you haven't stopped showing up. You haven't quit. You're still fighting for the best version of your life, even if today that fight feels small. That matters. That's what growth really is, not the days where everything works, but the days where you work with whatever you've got left. So, as we close out today's show, I want you to remember something really simple, okay? You're allowed to be a work in progress. Say it with me. You are allowed to be a work in progress. You're allowed to have days off. You're allowed to move slowly. You're allowed to rest. I need to remember that one myself. And you're allowed to trust that even in the quiet, something inside you is recalibrating and realigning and preparing you for whatever comes next. Tomorrow might move faster. Tomorrow might make sense again. Tomorrow might open the door today refused to budge. But even if it doesn't, you'll still find your way because that's what you do. Don't stop, even when nothing seems to work. And before I wrap this completely, let me say this clearly. I'm proud of you for being here. I'm proud of us for being here. I'm proud of you hanging in there. I'm proud that you showed up for yourself. Most importantly, you showed up for yourself. You're choosing connection instead of shutting down. If today was a heavy morning, I hope this hour reminded you that you're not alone in the slow days or the scattered ones, okay? Life isn't meant to be perfect. It's meant to be lived, felt, learned from, and carried forward. So take what resonated, leave that. What didn't, okay? Just leave it. Give yourself grace for the rest. And know that even on the days where you feel stuck, you're still moving. Not because the world is making space for you, but because you're making space for yourself. Okay? Remember that. And that's it for this episode today. Thank you very much, Big Jack, Kyle, and for all those that have been watching. I appreciate you for being here. Y'all, please go see our Iron Sharpening Iron universe. There are so many things going on over there, and it is so, so beautiful. So, so beautiful. You wouldn't believe how many wonderful people we have moving in this universe right now. I'm going to drop you a couple of links before I go. Make sure you go and you check out that merchandise. It is our universal merchandise, and we want you to have it. Just like this beautiful cup right here. One more time for Big Jack. Big time. Yes, we are good. And let me tell you something else. We are growing and glowing and stronger together. And we want you to come and join and be that with us too. Y'all have a really good day. I hope this message reached you in the best possible way. I love y'all. Bye-bye.